What's up, Cub fans? In today's episode, we're covering everything Jed Hoyer had to talk about in his meeting with the press during the GM meetings in Las Vegas. Listen, guys, you don't want to miss it. He dropped a couple bombshells. He paved the way for what the Chicago Cubs are going to do in the future, and he gave some instances on some things that might actually have you scratching your head. We're going to talk about it and cover it all right after this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome in, Cubs fans, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central. Remember, this is your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Listen, the greatest of appreciativeness and gratitude to each and every last one of you that have been tuning into these episodes, that have been responding and commenting below, joining in on all the fun with your boy. Listen, guys, you don't want to miss today's episode. Stay till the end because Jed Hoyer dropped some bombs, and we got to talk about them all right here on today's episode, man. Listen, you don't want to miss it. But also, I want your voice to be heard. Remember, this is where the official voice of the Chicago Cub fan lives. So right here on this video, comment below your thoughts on what you believe Jed Hoyer means by some of the things he says. So one thing we know about Jed Hoyer, he speaks in conundrums. He's not very clear in everything that he says, and he likes to try to be deceptive with some of the things that he puts out there. But he said some things in this interview that we'll talk about that were flat out, straight out. This is what it is. This is our focus. This is what we're doing. And the other things he wasn't willing necessarily to talk too much on, which, you know, usually means what? Money, right? But before we get into all of that, I need each and every last one of you. That's right, each and every last one of you to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Please, this video right here below, it would mean the world to me. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Make sure that you tune in to every episode of Chicago Cubs Central, guys. I'm giving you guys all the updates of what's going on during the offseason. And of course, on top of that, we're talking all the potential things that could happen, especially with Jed's interview today and letting us know, hey, listen, we are going to be active in free agency. And hey, we are going to be active in the trade market. That's right. Listen, Chicago Cub fans, you got some stuff to get excited about. You got some stuff not to get excited about too, which we'll kind of talk about both sides of things. But I definitely want you guys to be excited about this channel and make this your home to come catch all Chicago sports talk. Appreciate you guys so much. Hey, listen, over here on Shota Sports Central, we not only are handling the Cubs, but we got the Bulls, the Bears, the White Sox. Guys, we got them all. The Blackhawks. We even service the Illini. All you have to do is type in your favorite team and Shota Sports Central ahead of it. And guys, listen, we're right there for you. Appreciate you guys so much. Now, let's get on to business. That's right. Jed Hoyer doing his thing. Obviously, he's at the GM meetings. These are a precursor to the winter meetings that are going to happen later on at the end of this year. These GM meetings kind of set the stage, kind of set the tone, and we talked about that in an earlier episode of what this means for the Chicago Cubs and what they're looking for. Guys, one fun fact that I just want to point out to all of you, since 2019, the Chicago Cubs have not been top 5 in spending. This right here is why I said 2 episodes ago, it's time for the Chicago Cubs to spend money. Make no mistake about it. It's time for the Chicago Cubs to do what they need to do and become the organization that the fans know that they can become. And listen, for what it's worth, every team believes their ownership and their team has the money to be able to go out and get elite talent. They just refuse to. However, the Chicago Cubs really do have that money. The Chicago Cubs are making hand over fist money. Make no mistake about it. They have the resources. They have the revenue to be able to bring in. Listen, I went to Wrigley last year. I paid $20 for one hot dog, 2 glizzies, and like I said, a beer on top of that. Listen, I know the type of money they making over there. I bought the jersey at the stadium. Listen, I bought my seat set out in the bleachers. You guys saw the video that I did. If you didn't, go check it. Go check it out. The video I did a live from Wrigley Field before the game and after the game. Listen, it's lit. and it's always packed. It don't matter. Rain, sleet, snow, hail, don't matter. Wrigley Field is packed. Ricketts is making money. Don't believe the non-hype. And like I said, and with no salary cap, the money is there absolutely to be spent. But the first topic of Jed Hoyer's interview during these GM meetings, I want to talk about is Shota Imanaga. Now, I know you guys keep asking, Mike, why do you keep harping on Shota Imanaga? Why do you keep harping on Shota Imanaga? Listen, the Shota Imanaga deal is important, guys, because Shota Imanaga and his deal, whether he accepts his qualifying offer, whether or not him and the Cubs can agree to some type of offer, really will shape how the Chicago Cubs go about formatting the rest of their offseason and their free agency. And it also could have an impact on what they do with trades. Now, listen, obviously, if the Chicago Cubs do get Shota Imanaga back, that's one less thing checked off the box. You still need to get a front-end starter, which is fine. But if Shota Imanaga doesn't accept this deal, you got to go out and get two starting pitchers. Because, like I've said many a times before, Justin Steele, I do not expect him to be ready. Don't buy into the hype. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos on X and posted by Justin and his team themselves of him throwing and things like that. Listen, I'm happy for him. He will pitch for maybe the I-Cubs and some other rehab stints before he is ready to actually return to the major leagues. And I know Tommy Hotovy is going to be very, very careful with Justin Steele and bringing him back. So I do not expect Justin Steele to start the season. So Shota Imanaga, his deal is very important. If he accepts, the Cubs have clarity on their starting pitching needs for this offseason. If he declines, President of Baseball Operations Jed Hoyer said Tuesday that he and the Cubs were open to further negotiation. First bombshell drop. I misspoke, folks. I came on here, did a live a week ago when the Cubs declined their option and Shota and his team declined their option. I said, okay, hasta la vista, Shota Imanaga, it's over. He's gone. But listen, it's not over with yet. Jed Hoyer made it very clear in this interview. He is very much so willing to renegotiate another deal with Shota Imanaga, somewhere probably around the two-year, $38 million mark, if I had to guess. He said, he said this in the interview. He said, we obviously value Shota a ton. He was amazing for us as a pitcher, as a teammate, and I don't want to close that door completely by any stretch. But ultimately, we didn't think that the club option was the right value. He didn't think the player option was the right value. And that happens. So again, it was one of the things that really brought to the forefront of what the Chicago Cubs are looking to do, which is add pitching, which we'll talk about in the next topic. But I want to definitely hone in real quick on Shota Imanaga. It's very important, guys. Hear me out on this. It's very important that we get this Shota deal done if we're going to do it, because that then allows them. I know I can tell you guys off jump. Ricketts has already gave Hoyer a number not to exceed. You have 27 roster spots you need to fill. You got a number that you cannot exceed. It's not an open checkbook. It's not. And as excited as we are whenever these stupid interviews come out and Hoyer gets on here or Hawkins gets on here and says, oh yeah, no, we're gonna be spenders. We're gonna be spenders. I'm not hyping it up this time, guys. We won't fall for the okie doke, Cub fans. Spending money means you get one elite pitcher, you get one decent pitcher, and you might get one outfielder on a bargain. And then the rest is going to be pieces that you either fill in from the I-Cubs or pieces that you get on a steal. That's just the way this organization has run. Mike Jones, would be highly shocked if they go away from that this coming off season. Listen, and again, you guys know we're family. We come on here to talk to one another. If the Chicago Cubs and Jed Hoyer go out there and do more than what I've expected, I will be the first one to come on here and tell you, damn it, I didn't expect that, and good on them, because we need it. But I won't be wrong about this. I can tell you that right now. Just letting you guys know. I'm not going to, on this channel, I'm not going to set you up for failure and tell you, oh, yeah, the club's going to be active in this deal and this deal. I will tell you the rumors of who we hear the Chicago Cubs could be actively seeking or actively talking about. But guys, we not gonna be dumb or naive on this channel. We're gonna tell you the truth. You want the real, you come here to get the real. And tell your friends, come here to get the real. Listen, Chicago Cubs have a cap. It's a self-imposed team cap on what they're willing to spend and what they value players at, and they aren't willing to overspend, and they really ain't probably willing to make a trade for anybody that they feel like would be an overspend either. So without a doubt, this is two things that you don't have to worry about with the Cubs. They ain't never gonna overspend ever. You ain't gotta worry about that. So listen, like I said, the Chicago Cubs do have other things on their plate, though. Jed Hoyer addressed the focus of this offseason, which surprised me and probably should surprise a lot of you. We have been talking on this channel, and I've been seeing on my cohorts that do their podcasts and do their channels, and obviously those in the media. We've all been talking about Chicago Cubs. Man, we're going to go out, hopefully make a deal, try to sign Kyle Schwarber. Man, we're going to go out, maybe try to hopefully sign one of the guys from Japan. Or, oh, man, we're going to go maybe try to make a deal and maybe bring back Kyle Tucker. What about bringing back Cody Bellinger? Yada, 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 blase. Let me tell y'all something right now. Jed Hoyer put all that to bed real quick. He said that in this offseason, he spoke about the moves the Cubs had already made, which were declining Imanaga's club option, trading veteran Andrew Kittredge, and then re-signing Colin Ray. And he expounded on the Cubs' biggest offseason priority during this interview. What did he say that biggest priority was? Pitching. You guessed it. That's right. This is his exact quote. That's obvious. When you look at your depth chart, we're in pretty good position on the position player inside. On the pitching side, we're thinner. And so I think that's going to be our focus. And I expect to explore trades. I expect to explore free agency. But at the top of the market, both at the top of the market, but then also looking at minor league free agency. So as an example, Hoyer pointed to last year when the Cubs both signed left-hander Matthew Boyd to a 2-year contract worth $29 million and added right-handed reliever Brad Keller to a minor league deal with an invitation to spring training. Both were integral parts of the Cubs' success. So listen, like I said, Jed Hoyer already let you know that what his plans are and what his idea of a successful offseason is for the Chicago Cubs. Pitching, and more pitching. That's right. So I don't expect the Cubs to go after any high-end position players and spend $200 million, $150 million on any high-end position players. I'm backing off that train. Now, on the next episode, we will address some trade rumors that are out there for potential pieces that Chicago Cubs could trade for outfield pieces, and maybe even an infield piece that could be what the Chicago Cubs are needing. That's neither here nor there. We'll just have to see what happens with that. But as far as it goes right now, the Chicago Cubs are focused primarily on pitching. He said they're thinner on the pitching side. And I've told you guys before, and I'll say this until the cows come home. Jed Hoyer is in love with his position players and what he did in the farm system. He's very, very proud of that. And he wants to see those guys come into fruition. Why? A couple reasons. Here, they have a bunch of team control over those guys. That's first and foremost. And they're cheap contracts. I mean, guys, think about the deal Michael Busch is on. Michael Busch was your leading home run hitter last year for the Chicago Cubs on a team that had Kyle Tucker, Dansby Swanson, Carson Kelly, Seiya Suzuki, Ian Happ, like I said, Dansby Swanson, guys like that, PCA. And they have the most control over Michael Busch out of all those guys, outside of PCA, that is. So, I mean, when you look at it like that, you say to yourself, the Cubs are going to try to find value however they can. That's why Jed Hoyer got his contract extension, because he's able to go and find value in players that are on cheaper deals or are under a team control for a lot of years. That's something. That's something, and that's something important. So, like I said, guys, I would be shocked if you see the Chicago Cubs go out in free agency and sign a Kyle Schwarber, so re-sign a Kyle Tucker, do anything of that sort. I just don't see it happening, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, for all we know, Kyle Tucker's already a Dodger, and Kyle Schwarber probably already re-signed with the Phillies because the Phillies already let everybody know they ain't letting him go worth a damn. He would have to tell them, no, thank you. This is where I want to be now. So they said there's no amount that they're not willing to pay to keep Kyle Schwarber. So, and Kyle Tucker, I just foresee him being as good as going and be as good as a Dodger, which sucks really bad for the MLB, but whatever, man. It is what it is. We'll have to see what happens. But hey, listen, man, I appreciate you guys so much. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to be a part of the C3 fam, all you need to do is go ahead and hit that like button, that share button, and that subscribe button. Also, I need you to make sure that you leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts on Jed Hoyer's interview. Are you excited that the Chicago Cubs are focusing on pitching? Let me know in the comments below. If you aren't excited about the Chicago Cubs focusing on pitching during this offseason, let me know in the comments below. Also, what are your thoughts on the Chicago Cubs having a self-imposed salary cap? What do you think about that? Listen, I appreciate you guys so much. And until next time, go Cubs, go.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.